Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Gary, right there.
Scary stuff. There it is again. Now, we begin tonight with the Fox 17 Code Red weather alert. Radar shows 2 tornadoes, confirmed tornadoes, that were picked up there on radar, very likely hit here in the mid-state. Now, the National Weather Service will be confirming where exactly those tornadoes touched down. We believe both in Wilson and DeKalb counties. The good news is here that nobody was hurt in either one of those storms, despite that horrible image.
Well, in fact, so far only 2 homes and an outbuilding saw damage. In Smithville, winds damaged roofs, took down the entire wall of a garage and brought down trees along Highway 56. Luckily, the homeowners had a basement and knew exactly what to do when they heard those tornado sirens.
There were 2 elderly people here at the house. One, the wife had made her way into the basement. The husband was in the stairwell going down to the basement when it hit. The interior of the house kind of imploded, so it's fortunate they did get into the basement, into a safe area.
It is a blessing. They made it to the basement, and they're okay.
Family members are giving these homeowners a place to stay and will also help with the cleanup efforts starting tomorrow.
Now, again, a couple of tornadoes hit in remote parts of the Fox 17 viewing area. The first happened on the Wilson-Smith County line. That one is right here. There's a lot of farmland in that area for those familiar. The second one hit just outside of Smithville in DeKalb County. That one's over here on the map, south of 70, south of the interstate. 2 homes were hit there. We're not out of the woods, though, because severe weather in terms of the threat for what we could have continues both tomorrow and all the way into Wednesday night, Katie, an active week.
Yeah, shaping up to be a very active week indeed here. We want to start with what we can expect moving forward. Tomorrow we're looking at scattered showers and storms where we will have a handful or a little more of strong to severe thunderstorms. Timing for that looks to be mainly Tuesday evening. Then we get into Wednesday afternoon. There's going to be 2 rounds really for Wednesday. One in the afternoon, which will bring us some scattered activity. A couple of those could be strong to severe. All modes of severe weather will be possible on Wednesday, and then numerous severe thunderstorms likely very late Wednesday night, unfortunately, into early Thursday morning. That looks to be an overnight event for us. I should mention for Tuesday, all modes of severe weather will be possible there as well. We may actually start to run into problems too with flash flooding with these storms as they continue to train over the same locations here over the next few days. This is a loop. I'm going to let it start again here right around 3. The first tornado warning was right here in Wilson County. The second one was right there in Smithville. And those were the 2 that we saw today. This is a look at the radar now over the past hour. Still some moderate to heavy pockets of rain pushing through White County. They've seen quite a bit of storm activity this afternoon, pushing into Cumberland County, and actually a few more showers and thunderstorms popping up here. But the good news is our severe weather threat for tonight has come to an end. I just saw from the National Weather Service they're going to issue a flash flood warning for White County. Anywhere between 2, 3, almost 4 inches of rain has been felt over the past 24 hours, and that is going to lead to the potential for a quick rise of water. Very active scene for us here in Tennessee, also out west, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. As we head through the evening hours for tonight, expect a mild one. We'll walk you through the timing for severe thunderstorms Tuesday and Wednesday coming up.
It's so difficult to overcome a violent crime.
Repeat offenders creating a repeat problem here in the mid-state. A man with 105 charges in his rap sheet now accused of kidnapping and raping an Amazon delivery worker inside a downtown apartment mailroom. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller joining us live from the state capitol tonight after speaking with state leaders about this never-ending cycle. Caitlin.
Yes, we spoke with Senator Brent Taylor and a victims' rights advocate who both say that we need reform in our criminal justice system in order to keep these violent repeat offenders off of our streets. Metro Police say Carl Jerome Hamilton has been charged with 105 offenses in Nashville since 2007. Hamilton most recently is accused of raping and kidnapping a female Amazon delivery worker inside a Nashville apartment mailroom in Sobro.
Hamilton was convicted in July of 2022 for kidnapping and robbery in relation to an assault on a woman in 2020, where he received a 6-year sentence.
You can have physical, financial, certainly emotional things, and that old life that you had, that you knew so well, that you were comfortable with, it's gone forever.
Fox 17 News reached out to the DA's office to see why he's out already. The spokesperson told us the 2.5 years he spent in jail waiting for trial ended up credited towards his sentence. They say Hamilton severed 30% of the system, meaning he could be released. Fox 17 News followed up asking if this is common for a criminal who has more than 100 criminal charges. Fox 17 News also reached out to Tennessee Department of Correction about Hamilton's sentence, but did not get a response yet. Victim rights advocate Verna Wyatt says this poor woman could have been spared this trauma.
I see people that are accountable, that are changing their lives, and I see them go up for parole, and I see them be rejected. And then I see others that I clearly know that they aren't changing their life and they're out.
Wyatt emphasizes we need to do better. Senator Brent Taylor agrees.
Are we doing what is necessary to rehabilitate them so that they can learn a job skill, so that when they're released, they don't go right back to what the criminal activity that they were engaged in?
Senator Taylor says we need to look into turning people out too quickly on probation.
Senator Taylor says that he sponsored and passed a lot of bills this last session that address the low bond issue. He says that low bonds also have a huge impact in keeping these violent offenders on our streets. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
And it terrifies the victims of the crime because they know nothing has happened.
In Operation Crime and Justice, continuing our coverage right now of repeat offenders in our state. Tonight, the case of a local man arrested again today after Metro Police say he tried to take a woman's car at a church in Madison. And as Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker shows us, that woman's 3-year-old child was inside the car at the time.
A very scary situation here now. Police say that a mother was attempting to take her 3-year-old son out of the back seat of her car when she was trying to go into this church right behind me. That's when she was approached by the suspect, who then demanded her car keys before trying to remove her son from the back and took off when others came to help the mother. 30-year-old Javon Brown is accused of leading police on a chase through a Madison neighborhood on Sunday. This shortly after trying to steal a woman's car and kidnap her child. Now, police say Brown took off to a neighboring church before running into a wood line, ending at a vacant Madison home where he was met by a SWAT team.
At one point, 90% of the crime was committed by repeat offenders.
Former Metro Police Officer Ken Alexandro recalls his time in law enforcement. This after we showed him Brown's lengthy criminal history that includes 3 felonies and 10 misdemeanors, all of them only in the span of 11 months.
The trend or the history tells us there's something that has changed that has made them, for 28 years, to be an upstanding citizen, and then all of a sudden have 13 charges in 11 months.
According to court documents, before this past weekend, Brown was last arrested about 3 months ago, charged with a felony for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He was also arrested for several misdemeanors last June, August, September, and November.
There's a failure somewhere in the system that we keep arresting the same person day after day after day after day, but then the real victim here, the real tragedy of the story is how that makes the victims feel. Why call the police when nothing is inevitably going to happen?
Brown is now being held on a $40,000 bond with 3 charges for attempted kidnapping, attempted carjacking, and for evading arrest. We, of course, will be watching this case very closely, and we'll have any updates for you guys when they come available. For now, reporting in Madison, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
There are ambitious classroom projects for sure, but this is like nothing you've ever heard. The actual class project was to solve
a biscuit with sausage and egg, signature gravy, or country fried steak. And now enjoy breakfast till noon every day. Hardee's, goodness in the making.
Some Tennessee high school students tonight credited with identifying a serial killer while working a case in their classroom.
Well, not only did they connect the victims, but as Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier shows us, police believe they found the man responsible.
High school kids are easy to underestimate, but these kids have exceeded every expectation. They may have solved a 40-year-old murder mystery.
After so long.
Two high school friends walking together during class change. What are they talking about? Boys? Prom? The weekend? No. They're talking about a serial killer.
A lot of people didn't even know anything about these cases.
Welcome to Elizabethton High School, way up in East Tennessee in the shadow of the Appalachians. The Doe River cuts through this charming town of 14,000 people that is currently getting more attention than at any time in its history.
So what I'm going to do is...
It's all because of sociology teacher Alex Campbell's idea in 2018. What if his kids worked exclusively on a series of unsolved murders? Red-headed women strangled and dumped along the interstate. How about a semester of nothing else? Murder 101.
Mr. Campbell gave us a choice whether to go into the textbook or learn and change the world and try and make wrong things right within the world. And I chose that, and everyone else in that class actually chose that.
Look at it for...
Mr. Campbell's class exceeded expectations. In 2018, most of the women were unidentified. Today, there are 6 victims identified. And the serial killer the class thinks did this, now deceased trucker Jerry Johns, he has been indicted for one of the murders, Tina Farmer, and the class believes it has enough evidence to indict him for a second murder right now, Greene County victim Elizabeth Lamott. It just all fits together.
If we look at Tina Farmer's case and how she was killed, do these other cases match? And the MO, the signature, the time frame, and the geography is all the same. And we have 5 other murders that match it completely. So we know who killed her. He should be the primary suspect in killing all these others.
If this isn't amazing enough, the class also found the only known surviving victim of the Bible Belt Strangler. Linda Shockey did her first interview about Jerry Johns in 35 years. Here is an excerpt from the podcast Murder 101, courtesy of KT Studios and iHeartRadio.
I said, "Are you going to kill me?" And his whole demeanor, everything changed. He said, "Yes." And that right then I knew I was there. And I said, "Why?" And he said, "You're a nuisance."
Shockey was choked so hard she was blind for 3 days. A doctor testified he had never seen someone survive after being choked this hard. Her survival led to the conviction of Knoxville trucker Jerry Johns and a sentence of 73 years in jail for kidnapping and attempted murder. That interview also ties all of the 6 murders together. All redhead, all on John's truck routes. He used a granny knot to immobilize his victims, and he used their own clothes to strangle them. The Tennessee State Legislature commended the class for its outstanding work with a proclamation. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation still hasn't given the kids any credit. Credit or not, it's pretty obvious what happened here. A group of high school kids and their amazing teacher made unsolved 40-year-old murders relevant again.
And it's things that law enforcement haven't been able to do in 30, 40 years. That just gives me so much confidence that when you're passionate about something and you're willing to put in the work, you can get it done and you can really go above and beyond any expectations you had.
What an unbelievable story. At a time when school districts are obsessed with test scores, here's Alex Campbell in his Murder 101 course.
You don't just have like surface learning. The kids go really deep and they don't just memorize a name or something, they understand why it's happening. So I think you also get like deeper learning skills going on. When student engagement goes up, test scores go up, even if test prep goes down.
And this isn't over. Jerry Johns has been indicted for only one of the 6 murders.
I think there's enough proof.
There are people in these hallways who aren't satisfied with that, who aren't finished with this.
I had a picture of Tracy Walker, and that picture still sits on my desk, and every time I look at it, I'm like, I got more work to do.
I know veteran police officers who keep a picture of the victim on their desk to remind them to keep working the case. How amazing it is that this 17-year-old has done that instinctively. If you want to listen to the podcast, and I highly recommend it, it's called Murder 101. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, we continue our Code Red threat here for more severe thunderstorms as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, expecting numerous severe thunderstorms by Wednesday evening into early Thursday. It's already been a very active start to the week, and unfortunately, we're expecting more to come as we head towards the middle of the week here. Wet roadways downtown on Broadway. We've had quite a few showers and storms move through. As I mentioned, more severe thunderstorms moving in for Tuesday and Wednesday. Basically, all modes of severe weather will be possible both days. I think for tomorrow, the main concern is mainly going to be wind and hail and flash flooding, but it's possible a spin-up tornado will be around. We do have a higher tornado risk for Wednesday, so making sure that you're staying weather aware. And a great way to do that is to make sure that you have a reliable weather app that can send you alerts and information at all hours of the day or night. And that's what our Fox 17 Code Red weather app can do. So make sure you have it on your phone ready to go. Here's our outlook for Tuesday. Now, this looks to be Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. Wind, hail, flash flooding, a spin-up tornado. It's a small chance, but as we expected today, a small chance for a tornado. We even saw a few confirmed tornadoes this afternoon. So still expecting quite a bit of instability. Level 2 out of 5 threat, mainly for along and north of I-40. Then we get into Wednesday. This will mainly be for Wednesday night. We're looking at a level 3 out of 5 threat. This just means that our number of severe thunderstorms goes up. So we're expecting numerous severe thunderstorms in that level 3 category. Tuesday afternoon, we should be okay, at least morning into the middle of the afternoon. That's when we'll start to see a few pop-up showers and storms. Tomorrow, not everybody will see severe weather. Kind of like today was scattered. But where we do see it, it'll be possible that we find some of those gusty winds and even some hail. Had quite a few hail reports today, golf ball and larger in some cases. Tuesday morning, we are quiet. As we get into the afternoon, we'll start to watch a few of these thunderstorms bubble up. Notice that, again, it's not going to be widespread. It'll be pretty scattered through Tuesday evening. You can see a few more showers trying to pop up even early Wednesday morning here. We'll be watching the radar. Going into Wednesday morning, you can see that we will have the potential for a few showers and thunderstorms around. But we get into midday here, a couple showers will be possible. We may find a few strong to severe thunderstorms for the early part of the afternoon. The main event for Wednesday, though, does not look to be until after 7 o'clock with a line arriving from the north and the west. This is going to be the problem that we're watching closely for Wednesday. And unfortunately, it's going to go into the overnight hours. So that line approaching Nashville around midnight, and then after, as we head through early Thursday morning, will begin to clear out, hopefully. We'll talk more about our severe threat, the potential for spinning storms on Wednesday.
This MLB season, FanDuel is taking you out to every ball game. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win.
Tonight in Spotlight on America, what the White House is doing to address record-high cancer drug shortages.
Well, Fox 17 News' Lisa Fletcher examines the changes and when they could go into effect.
Laura Bray's daughter was diagnosed with cancer at 9 years old. The suffering family was hit with another punch during her treatment. The drugs Abby needed to fight the disease were unavailable 3 times.
My 9-year-old asked me, what does this mean? She said, well, do I die? No one had an answer for her, right? I didn't have an answer.
Laura Bray started asking questions, discovering that cancer drug shortages, especially for kids, have persisted for years. According to the FDA, 31 oncology drugs are in shortage right now. And as we first reported last year, up to 500,000 cancer patients are at risk of losing their life-saving treatment. The root of the problem comes down to money. Few companies make the drugs in the U.S. Instead, they're tied to a brittle supply chain rooted in overseas factories. We started asking why the government hadn't stepped in to create long-term solutions to ensure a more stable supply. Now, we're seeing the first signs of action. This 20-page report published by the Department of Health and Human Services. It focuses on addressing the problem from its pressure points, manufacturing and distribution. Laura Bray helped make that report happen as a member of the White House Drug Shortages Task Force.
It's not just about making sure we have supply. It's about making sure that supply gets to our patients
without disparity every single time, no matter what facility, hospital, or clinic you go to. As a patient, as an American, you deserve access to that medicine.
The proposed solution includes creating 2 new organizations. One would evaluate drug makers on their supply chains and sourcing, showing how prepared they are for shortages. The other would track and rate hospitals on the importance they place on making sure the drugs they buy have a reliable supply. Eventually, incentives and penalties will be in place based on performance.
How long do you think it will take to develop the criteria to make the kinds of determinations that this white paper is asking for?
What I'm asking is for us to pilot this and test as we go. That we don't need to let perfection be the enemy of good here. There are patients who need us to act.
The cost of implementing the plan is up to $5 billion over 10 years. To put that in perspective, in the United States, we will spend at least $5.74 trillion over the next decade on medicines. Bray says most important is making sure plans being put out on paper actually put drugs in the hands of those who need them now.
We want action. We want full and real change. The work that's been activated in the last year is so hopeful to me. And I would be extremely devastated if we couldn't figure out how to get it over the finish line.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Lisa Fletcher.
Come see us at Loden Vision Centers because we're going to help you get the vision that you deserve.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by B.F. Myers Furniture.
Summer travel season is almost here, and you're probably paying close attention to those gas prices. According to AAA, the national average is $3.65 a gallon, and here in Tennessee, it's $3.31. Now, a group of top oil-producing countries are considering supply cuts. Fox 17 News' Atra El-Nashar takes a look at the impact. And by the way, you can vote on this issue by scanning the QR code that will appear here shortly on your screen.
It's no secret Americans have been struggling with high inflation for the past 2 years or so. And drivers hope as they hit the road this summer, there won't be any surprises when they pull up to the gas station.
I got a Mustang, and I go to fill it up, it's like $75, $80.
It used to cost me $20 to fill, get my truck to half a tank. Now it's like almost $80 now.
It's typical to see a slight rise in prices this time of year as refineries undergo seasonal maintenance and stations switch to a required summer blend gasoline. But there's always the potential for unexpected shocks to global oil supply that can have ripple effects at your local station.
What a diversity of challenges.
When Saudi Arabia and other OPEC Plus countries meet on June 1st, they're expected to extend the production cuts they implemented earlier this year. Those cuts haven't yet delivered the price shocks experts were dreading, thanks in part to increased production in the Western Hemisphere. Last year, U.S. oil production hit an all-time high, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Drivers are watching prices, and so are the presidential campaigns, as poll after poll shows voters are sour on the overall economy. Republicans blaming President Biden for high prices at the pump and beyond, consistently attacking his clean energy policies.
We're going to drill, baby drill. We're going to bring down your energy costs.
While Democrats court voters with ambitious plans for electric vehicle production and tout how much gas prices have come down from their peak of $5 per gallon in July 2022.
I led the country through the COVID crisis. Today, we have the strongest economy in the world.
Back before the 2022 midterms, when Americans were dealing with those especially high gas prices, Republicans were expected to get a so-called red wave that never came to fruition. Abortion rights had a major role in that. Flash forward to today, that's still a top issue. But if you look at the polls, the economy ranks as voters' #1 concern. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar.
Well, during that story, we had a QR code posted up with this poll asking the question, would gas prices impact your vote for president come November? And here are the results there on your screen. And as you can see, almost 500 people weighed in. 69.1% say yes, it would affect your vote for president in November. 30.9% say no. Thanks for voting.
Tonight in Crisis in the Classroom, school security growing pains in neighboring Wilson County. It is the latest district to just say no to arming teachers. And the weapons detection technology, I should say, that county has invested in is proving problematic and may turn out to be more trouble than it's worth.
I am more than happy with our SR program and know what's going on with our sheriff and what he's willing to do to provide safety for our kids.
At its most recent board meeting, Wilson County Schools Director made it clear he will not allow teachers to go armed in spite of a state law saying they can. Board members also got an update on the Evolve weapons detection system the district has been testing now for more than a year. The issue is the system alerts every time a child walks through with a 3-ring binder or a spiral notebook.
I can make it stop alerting, but then some kid could walk through with all kinds of weapons, which that's the whole purpose, is to keep them out. And we're not convinced that we can ultimately make it work seamlessly at every location.
The detector looks similar to others you've seen. Wilson County Central has been testing it. The district plans to expand the pilot to its other high schools before the end of the year. But telling families they can't bring basic school supplies is a concern for board members.
It's okay to set the expectation and to know these things are probably going to alert. If you have this in your backpack, you're going to need to take it out. You're going to need to take it out every single day.
We are not going to purchase any more until we get all this worked out. I do not think that's wise use of our money.
Schools Director Jeff Luttrell says the key to safety is a layered approach, and he says that's how Wilson County is building its defenses. Now, several other Tennessee school districts are using that same Evolve system that Wilson County is. Wilson County leaders, in fact, just made a trip over to West Tennessee to Dyersburg to see it in action there.
In our code red alert for more severe thunderstorms possible Tuesday and for Wednesday. We start here with a live shot just outside our station here in Metro Center, and road's still wet. We've had quite a bit of rain around the area today, and of course very active weather. A lot of hail reports this afternoon in addition to the tornadoes that we have from Wilson County and DeKalb County today. We take a look at the radar. We're still tracking some showers, although severe weather threat is done for tonight. We are looking at some of these showers to push more out of our viewing area here through Cumberland County, Crossville here. Flash flood warning, though, remains in effect for White County, and this is because we have seen upwards to 4 inches of rain in portions of White County this evening, and it may cause some localized flash flooding. This will be a concern for us in addition to other severe weather threats over the next few days, given the fact that these storms are going to be producing a lot of rain, and we get them over same locations that have had previous storms. There is not going to be much more room for this water to soak into the ground and could lead to localized flooding. Make sure over the next few days that you are prepared for severe weather. Have that reliable weather app. Your WEA alerts turned on your phone. Those are like the Amber alerts that you get on your phone as well. And make sure you have a secondary severe weather source for information, which is a weather radio, a good way to make sure you're getting those weather alerts, especially for Wednesday night, which unfortunately looks to be an overnight event for us. Coming up, we will talk more about the potential for rotating storms on Wednesday night, and we'll have a look at a very active evening ongoing right now out in the plains. It's in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
6 months to go before .com.
Kids today, very strong work ethic.
Know about flooding in advance. Download the free Fox 17 Code Red weather app.
New tonight, former President Donald Trump feeling the heat again from the judge in his New York hush money trial.
Fox 17 News' Matt Gelka explains an overwhelming majority of his supporters will be unfazed if a jury finds him guilty.
The former president blasted the gag order assigned to him to try and prevent further attacks on witnesses.
The judge has gagged me, and I'm not allowed to talk about, I guess, his total conflict. The judge is totally conflicted.
Inside the courtroom, former President Trump was threatened with jail time if he continually violated his gag order. He's been fined $10,000 for 10 gag order violations already. Fines, jail time, and even a conviction might not matter to Trump's base. A new ABC News poll has a whopping 80% of Trump supporters saying they'd stick with him if he's convicted of the hush money felonies. 16% would reconsider, and 4% would not support him. Trump also holds big leads over President Biden on voters' top 3 issues, including the economy and inflation, where Trump is up 14, and crime and safety, where Trump is up 8.
We love Trump! We love Trump!
Trump backers were touting the former president's ability to handle the issues over the weekend.
In places where President Trump had success, Joe Biden's having failure. Where President Trump was strong, Joe Biden's been weak.
Part of the unwavering support among Trump supporters could be from lack of video access in the courtroom. Bombshell emotional testimony from former Trump aide Hope Hicks last week, where she alleged the former president knew about hush money payments, could only be written about and not seen or heard.
The fact you can't see Trump doesn't mean that he gains or loses, except that there are reports that he falls asleep in the courtroom. So I think if people saw that, that would not be to his advantage.
Biden is dominating on the issue of abortion access, but beyond that, more people surveyed believe Biden is honest and trustworthy, represents their values, and understands their problems. It adds up to a neck-and-neck race in the polls 6 months out from Election Day. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
Coming up, we continue to track the potential.
Celebrating 20 years of game-changing, life-changing fun.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Ponce Law.
Illegal immigration is one of the top concerns for voters across America.
Now, former President Trump built up part of the border wall when he was in office to help deal with that issue. And now, listen to this, President Biden is doing the same.
Well, Fox 17 News' Cheryl Atkinson takes a look at this change of heart.
Let me ask you, why do you think the turnaround at the 11th hour? Why would the Biden administration now be building border wall?
Political expediency. I mean, bottom line is people overall as a country, they are seeing what's happening here. And the reality is that the circumstances that when you're having individuals coming into the country and again, not properly vetted or catch and release, it's having an impact on the national perspective here. Why? Because it's affecting many other communities. And we don't have the resources. There's a reason we don't have sanctuary cities along the border. One of it, of course, is it's law we can't have any. But even before 2017, we've never had really sanctuary cities along the border because we cannot. There's no way we can. We don't have the resources to be able to provide for thousands of people at the expense and on the backs of the American taxpayers. There's no way. Now, when you're having a place like New York City that's spending $8 million a day, you know, $2.some billion a year to accommodate individuals, you know, and again, and that's one of the other things. If we're going to allow these folks to come in, you know, again, either way, I'm not saying whether they should be allowed or not. Just simply, if we're going to allow them, we need to make sure we provide them the economic opportunity because illegal immigration is driven by economic opportunity. Now, I mean, it's economic opportunity. Yes, sometimes they claim asylum and whatnot, and there's a percentage that does, but the reality is it's economic opportunity. But we're not giving them that economic opportunity. Well, you know, let's say in New York City, you have individuals that are there, but they can't work. So how are they going to fend for themselves? You know, so if we're going to allow them in, my perspective is, okay, you're going to allow them in, make sure that they have the opportunity to be able to work and fend for themselves. Otherwise, it's going to be a burden on the resources at that municipality or county and so on. So, which only brings up when you're having to fight for resources and you have the locals versus individuals who are coming in, you know it's not a good mixture.
How were you told that the federal government planned to build wall here?
We sat down with Border Patrol, and we have, by the way, under President Trump's administration and President Biden's administration, because we've had these conversations for several years already. And so we sat down with Border Patrol, and this was the section that was, and by the way, there's 17 miles here in Stark County, 2 of which will be here in Rio Grande City. So it'll start here and go across this, and it's, like I said, it's a movable wall, or at least being labeled a movable wall, but there's nothing movable about it. But we work very closely together with Border Patrol and other law enforcement agencies. So we sat down, we had the conversation, because at the end of the day, they're following, of course, they're following the charge of their superiors.
Was the thought that the numbers of people coming in here were significant and this was a good place for it? Why here?
That question, well, the RGV sector is one of the highest. And when you're talking about Brownsville, the McAllen, the Rio Grande City, you're talking about over 70-some thousand people since October 1st of 2023 up until today. So it is very active. You know, the reality is that it is active. But as I mentioned, we have the technology to know who's coming in and out, bottom line. And the reality is this has been going on for decades. You know, we've had influxes under every president for the last several decades, whether it's Republican president or Democrat. And you have guns and money flow south, and drugs and people flow north. And that's been, I mean, we've been seeing this for quite a bit of time, and unfortunately, you know, we're continuing on the same trajectory. And 10 years from today, we might be having the same conversation.
Our code red alert continues here heading into the next few days. Active weather, unfortunately, expected to unfold here in Middle Tennessee tonight. The main event, although we have had a fairly active day for us, the main event continues to be in Oklahoma and Kansas this evening and into parts of Missouri, where they are dealing with a severe weather outbreak, including several tornadoes. One in particular right now we're looking at north of the Tulsa area here. This whole line has got nothing but severe thunderstorm warnings. And then right here north of Tulsa, we have a confirmed tornado that just moved across a small town in Oklahoma, Barnsdall. This one was confirmed on radar. Very nasty supercell that continues to move towards Bartlesville, Oklahoma as well. So unfortunately, they are dealing with quite a bit of active weather this evening. This same system will march our way for Tuesday, and then eventually into Wednesday. We're expecting a main line for us to move through, unfortunately, overnight. So we're looking at most of this to occur for us after sundown and when a lot of us are going to bed. So making sure again that you have the proper heads up and then ways to stay alert as the event unfolds for Wednesday evening here. It is a level 3 out of 5 threat for what we're seeing right now. Damaging wind, hail, and tornadoes will be possible as we go through Wednesday evening into early Thursday morning. So what we're looking at here, this is one of our exclusive products where we can actually look into the future where some storms may rotate. And I don't want you to look at this and think I'm in the clear if I don't see an area over my location. This just gives you an idea of the atmosphere, what we will be looking at. So this is for Wednesday afternoon. You can easily see some strong rotation here to extreme in southern portions of Illinois. And I do think that's going to be where the highest risk for tornadoes will be on Wednesday afternoon and evening. Then we get into the evening hours here and you can see that we're still looking at some decent rotation in southern Kentucky as we head through the overnight. That continues here through portions of Middle Tennessee early Thursday morning. So again, we are looking at the time frame to be as you're sleeping. So making sure you have those ways to stay alert for Wednesday night into early Thursday. Thankfully, by Thursday morning, I think most of this is done, and we're looking at things to dry out and clear out as we head into a Thursday afternoon and more so into Friday and into the weekend. Take a look at this forecast here. This is really going to be nice. We get through a couple of active days. We're rewarded with beautiful weather for Friday. It's going to feel dry. It's going to feel comfortable outside with temperatures only in the low 70s. Definitely an open the windows type of day. Even Saturday and Sunday not looking too bad. A stray shower possible for Saturday, which is actually steeplechase. And then Sunday, Mother's Day, lots of sunshine expected with highs only in the mid 70s. A nice cool down for us after a very active start to the week.
Just ahead, a popular snack food under recall. The Planters product you need to...
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by U.S. Pest Protection. This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Zander Insurance.
A Fox 17 News recall alert tonight involving a popular snack food.
Well, check the cabinets for Planters, honey roasted peanuts, and deluxe lightly salted mixed nuts. Heads up here, the company worried about listeria contamination. The products were sold by Publix and Dollar Tree stores. To see a list of the impacted items, just go to fox17.com and click on Fox Links.
Middle Tennessee, not the only place dealing with severe weather tonight. The track
is going on now. For a limited time, buy one, get one half off store-wide. Buy this sofa and get the love seat 50% off. Or get low monthly payments with no interest for 84 months. Only at Ashley.
Extreme weather out in Texas turning deadly as floodwaters spread across the Lone Star State.
Take a look. At least 3 people are confirmed dead because of the damage we'll show you, including a child in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Here's a look at some aerial images in the San Jacinto River Valley. It's coming out of its banks, obviously flooding homes that sit on those banks. So far, emergency crews have saved more than 200 people and more than 100 pets from floodwaters just like this.
I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington. Coming up, we unpack how some of the biggest Democratic donors are also helping to fund one of President Biden's biggest political challenges.
Just ahead, we meet a nurse who says time is critical when you have a stroke. She knows because she's also been a stroke patient. I'm Liz Bonus. Those who make a difference this National Nurses Week, just ahead.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
Gary, right there.
This evening, we begin with video here of the tornadoes that have been confirmed by the National Weather Service in Nashville this afternoon by radar. And here we're seeing video. The first one was out of Smithville, and the second one from the Lebanon area or east of Lebanon in Wilson County. 2 tornadoes again confirmed by the National Weather Service, and this is radar confirmed. We have the technology now to confirm these tornadoes on radar, and then the Weather Service will go out tomorrow and then sift through any more damage that we might have seen with these storms. We did have reports of home damage just outside of Smithville. But here's the one just on the edge of the Wilson-Smith County line, and then the one in Smithville from DeKalb County today. These are the first tornadoes actually for 2024 here in Middle Tennessee. Severe storm threat is over for tonight, thankfully, but unfortunately we have more to watch the next few days. Tuesday, scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some could be severe. Wednesday afternoon, a couple severe thunderstorms possible. The main event won't come until very late Wednesday night into Thursday. That overnight that we are looking at the severe threat. We take a look at the radar here. We have the last bit of showers and storms clear the area. We've got a few spot showers left over, but really not much going on. You can see a little bit trying to pop up, it looks like, on radar. And this evening here, we continue to monitor some pretty heavy rain that has moved through. This may actually become more of a problem over the next few days. These pockets of heavy rain moving over the same locations time and time again. It may lead to some flash flooding concerns. So we've had a pretty active day here. The main event for today is out west, where there is a high risk out in portions of Oklahoma and Kansas, and they are dealing with severe weather all the way through the plains this evening here. We will eventually see some of those showers, same system, move our way for Tuesday and Wednesday. Lows tonight stay very warm. We should be close to 70, in fact, for tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about the timing for Tuesday and Wednesday. That coming up. Scott.
Katie, thank you. Those 2 radar-confirmed tornadoes touched down in Wilson and DeKalb counties, the real deal. High winds in DeKalb County damaged a couple of homes and a garage there. You see some of the damage. Hundreds of people lost power at the height of the storm. The people living in this house were fortunate enough to make it to the basement in time, and no one got hurt.
It is a blessing. We had a lot of people out here quick, a lot of response agencies. DeKalb County Sheriff's Department got here really quick.
Now, the storm victims, again, who live in this home were okay. They're staying with relatives tonight. They say they will begin cleanup early tomorrow, but Mother Nature may have something to say about that as well.
Take a look at some of the videos and pictures coming in from today's storms, all sent in by you, our viewers. You can help us tell the weather story as that line of storms move through. We're still getting these pictures into our newsroom, and there's still time to submit them. Just go to fox17.com, search Chime In, and upload your pics.
He's a habitual criminal, and he shouldn't be out on the street to devastate innocent lives.
Repeat offenders back on the streets committing more crimes. It is something that both city and state leaders say they are dealing with too often.
Well, a man with 105 charges in Nashville now accused of kidnapping and raping an Amazon delivery worker at an apartment complex downtown. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller is live from the state capitol after speaking with state leaders about criminal justice reform.
Megan, Scott, state and city leaders and victims' rights advocates are questioning why someone with such an extensive criminal record keeps being released back onto the streets to commit more violent crimes. Metro Police say that Carl Jerome Hamilton is most recently accused of raping and kidnapping a female Amazon delivery worker inside a Nashville apartment mailroom. Hamilton was convicted in July of 2022 for kidnapping and robbery in relation to an assault on a woman in 2020, where he received a 6-year sentence. Fox 17 News reached out to the DA's office to see why he's out already. A spokesperson told us the 2.5 years he spent in jail waiting for trial ended up credited towards his sentence. They say Hamilton severed 30% of the system, meaning he could be released.
And if somebody has a violent record and you haven't seen growth while they've been incarcerated, then the chances are they're going to pick up back where they left off. They're not going to change their behavior. They're going to create more victims.
Victim rights advocate Verna Wyatt says this poor woman could have been spared this trauma. Senator Taylor says that low bonds also play a huge issue in seeing these repeat offenders commit more and more violent crimes. And that's why he says he spent a lot of time last session working on these bills that passed, and he's hoping that this will help this issue. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
The real tragedy of the story is how it makes the victims feel.
Continuing Operation Crime and Justice and our coverage on repeat offenders. Today, another example. A man with a long criminal record now is accused of kidnapping and an attempted carjacking outside a church up in Madison. Metro Police say 30-year-old Javon Brown demanded a woman's car keys, tried to take her 3-year-old son out of the back seat while they were in the church parking lot there. Brown led police on a short foot chase. It ended at a vacant home near the church. With 13 misdemeanors and 3 felonies on his arrest record, Brown is certainly no stranger to crime, and a former police officer shares the frustration others feel.
There's a failure somewhere in the system that we keep arresting the same person day after day after day after day, but then the real victim here, the real tragedy of the story is how that makes the victims feel. Why call the police when nothing is inevitably going to happen?
Brown's facing 3 new charges in this case. For now, he is being held on $40,000 bond.
Well, it's a story that Fox 17 News has been following closely. The future of police accountability here in Nashville. This follows a state law that critics say limit police oversight boards across Tennessee. For about a year now, Metro's Community Review Board says it's been hamstrung when vetting citizen complaints against the police. One issue, the police department saying that they can no longer hand over certain files. Board members say this is something easily fixed with an agreement to keep things private.
What access will the CRB have to those documents, to those police records?
So it is true, and I think Metro Legal is correct here. The state law had a material impact on some of the information that is obligated to be shared.
Tomorrow on Fox 17 News at 9, Kelly Avellino shows examples of why the board says they've not been able to effectively vet allegations of police misconduct and getting responses from the mayor and Metro Police.
I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington. Coming up, we on our hearts. Thank you.
Tomorrow at 6 on Fox 17.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Tennessee Home Buyers.
In politics tonight, President Biden trailing former President Trump in a brand new ABC News poll.
Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins in Washington tonight with a look at one of the president's biggest political challenges at the moment.
Pro-Palestinian demonstrators rocking college campuses have made it clear
they aren't relenting anytime soon. The rapid escalation of these protests shocked many on the outside looking in. However, an analysis by the Wall Street Journal finding many of these college students spent the past months coordinating with and being coached by well-established left-wing activist groups.
Your school is being taken over by, people that don't even go there for the most part. I mean, it's really tough to watch.
According to the report, groups like the National Students for Justice in Palestine, the Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network, and former Black Panthers worked heavily with college students on how to make their demonstrations more effective and potent. These protests continue to threaten the president politically. Yet Politico finding some of the deep pockets who financially back these activist organizations are also some of Biden's biggest donors.
Many liberal, left-leaning nonprofits that are giving to organizations that are directly funding these protests on campus. And frankly, it's due to that. I mean, it's no wonder that the Biden administration was silent for so long on the issue.
For example, Democratic megadonors George Soros and the Rockefeller Brothers Fund have both given to the Tides Foundation. That foundation gave $500,000 to Jewish Voice for Peace, one of the main non-student groups supporting these protests on campus.
This often happens because these donations given to these nonprofit groups are often given several years in advance. So it's not like the people who funded them are directly connected to it, and it can cause some conflict, as we've seen.
Younger voters played a key role in Biden's success in 2020. He's aiming to get their support again, although his handling of the Israel-Hamas war could threaten that. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
I'm Janae Bones in Washington with a look at why nearly half of Gen Z males are
do what you wanna do. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
The battle over police accountability, Fox 17 News investigates Tuesday at 9.
Tonight, nearly half of the Gen Z men are not dating. In fact, new research shows romantic relationships are a rapidly disappearing part of the American teenage experience.
Well, Fox 17 News' Janae Bowens has more on this growing trend.
14-year-old Kyle Kelman isn't checking for anybody right now, but he's not opposed to dating.
Like maybe take them out to play pickleball or tennis, maybe go eat lunch or dinner, watch a movie maybe.
It doesn't seem like other young men his age are on the same page. 44% of Gen Z males have not dated at all during their teenage years. That's according to research from the Survey Center on American Life. Kelman's not surprised.
They're not necessarily looking for a deep connection. They might like the person, but not enough to really want to have a long-lasting relationship.
Gen Z men are a lot different from older men. Only 32% of millennial men, 23% of Gen X men, and just 20% of baby boomer men didn't date during their teenage years. Daniel Cox with the American Enterprise Institute is behind this research.
Both of them are approaching dating with much more trepidation, and I think it's left them much more open to considering alternatives to partnering up in marriage.
Now, he says Gen Zers are focused on risk aversion of rejection and harassment, but he fears, especially for males, not dating is causing more harm than good.
Which was really important to providing you with experiences to know how to set and respect boundaries, to know what you're looking for.
Cox says some things that are stopping young men from dating are finances, parenting, disinterest, video games, and social media.
Hashtags and forums, asking, what's wrong with men? Men are blaming women for being too shallow and superficial.
Despite all of this, Kelman still wants a real romantic relationship.
I do want to get married one day. I want to have children of my own and take care of them.
Cox says parents can help their sons with dating by encouraging them to be empathetic and to see what can be built in partnerships. He says sports, social clubs, and community service projects can help with this too. I'm Janae Bowens reporting.
Our severe weather threat continues here over the next couple of days. Unfortunately, we'll need to be weather aware for Tuesday and for Wednesday with the potential for severe weather. All modes of severe weather will be possible both days. The tornado threat's going to be a little less for Tuesday compared to what we'll find for Wednesday. But just a case in point, best that we're staying weather aware for both days throughout the afternoon and the overnight hours. Great way to do that is with our Fox 17 Code Red weather app, making sure that you have multiple ways to get alerts, especially overnight Wednesday into early Thursday, which is going to be our main event, or the time frame that we're expecting the most number of strong to severe thunderstorms. Tuesday here we have a level 2 out of 5 threat. Most of this is going to be along and north of I-40. I do think we're looking at a few thunderstorms for the afternoon, but likely looking at some thunderstorms late Tuesday night into early Wednesday with wind and hail and maybe a spin-up tornado or two. Flash flooding may become an increasing concern if we have storms that tend to train over the same locations that have seen prior storms. We're going to get to the point where all this heavy rain is just not going to have a place to go anymore. As we get into Wednesday, right now looking at a level 3 out of 5 for severe weather. All modes of severe weather will be possible. Again, through the afternoon, we may have a handful of strong to severe thunderstorms, but I expect the main line for Wednesday to come in late Wednesday night. We're talking after probably 7 or 8 p.m. in our far northwestern counties, and then it will march south and east as we head through the overnight. So making sure you have those ways to stay alert is going to be pretty important. Tuesday, right around 77 at 10. As we get into the afternoon hours, we'll start to see more showers and storms pop. And into the early evening, too. Temperatures should climb into the mid-80s for tomorrow. We walk you through future track. We will be dry for tomorrow morning, so a nice break overnight. We get into noon here. We've got some showers that are trying to pop up right along really almost the I-65 corridor, just west of it at least in southern Kentucky. We'll need to watch those for strong to severe potential. Again, not everybody will see severe weather for tomorrow afternoon, but the potential will be there and it will increase as we go through the afternoon hours. Here's 5 p.m. and then we get into a Tuesday night, another line here moving into early Wednesday. These will also need to be watched for a couple strong to severe thunderstorms heading into early Wednesday. Wednesday morning, we are mainly quiet with a couple thunderstorms possible. As we get into the afternoon, once again, after lunchtime, a few thunderstorms here will need to be monitored as we see these storms lift here along and ahead of a warm front. Then as we get into the evening hours, a cold front will come through, and that is going to be our main event after, I would say, 9 p.m. here. So here's 9 p.m. As we get into the overnight, we'll start to see that line shift more into Middle Tennessee. And that's going to be where we need to watch the potential for some strong to severe storms. This is 11 p.m. moving through Nashville, and then overnight as it continues through much of Middle Tennessee. Case in point, the next few days are going to be pretty active, so make sure you have those ways to stay alert. Good news is, beyond that, we've got a gorgeous looking weekend ahead. Highs only in the low 70s as we head towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Maybe a pop-up storm on Saturday, but overall, very nice.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Snow continued to fall today in the Salt Lake City region, making it tough for this hummingbird to use the bird feeder. An impressive lenticular cloud hovers over the mountains in southern New Mexico, while this shelf cloud hung over Greenville, Tennessee. And May is known as Morel Month in Michigan. If you are lucky, you can find one as big as this.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on...
You can make it. I love you, sweetheart. Thank you.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Ponce Law.
Well, you may have heard the Biden administration is now building new sections of border fence along the Mexican border down in Texas.
This week on Full Measure, Cheryl Atkinson spoke with the mayor of Rio Grande City, Texas, Democrat Joel Villarreal, where some of that new wall's going up.
Let me ask you, why do you think the turnaround at the 11th hour? Why would the Biden administration now be building border wall?
Political expediency. I mean, bottom line is people overall as a country, they are seeing what's happening here. And the reality is that the circumstances that when you're having individuals coming into the country and again, not properly vetted or catch and release, it's having an impact on the national perspective here. Why? Because it's affecting many other communities. And we don't have the resources. There's a reason we don't have sanctuary cities along the border. One of it, of course, is it's law we can't have any. But even before 2017, we've never had really sanctuary cities along the border because we cannot There's no way we don't have the resources to be able to provide for thousands of people at the expense and on the backs of the American taxpayers. There's no way. Now, when you're having a place like New York City that's spending $8 million a day, 2-point-some billion dollars a year to accommodate individuals, and again, and that's one of the other things, if we're going to allow these folks to come in, again, either way, I'm not saying whether they should be allowed or not, just simply if we're going to allow them, we need to make sure we provide them the economic opportunity, because illegal immigration is driven by economic opportunity. Now, I mean, it's economic opportunity. Yes, sometimes they claim asylum and whatnot, and there's a percentage that does, but the reality is it's economic opportunity. But we're not giving them that economic opportunity. Let's say in New York City, you have individuals that are there, but they can't work. So how are they going to fend for themselves? So if we're going to allow them in, my perspective is, okay, you're going to allow them in, make sure that they have the opportunity to be able to work and fend for themselves. Otherwise, it's going to be a burden on the resources at that municipality or county and so on. So, which only brings up when you're having to fight for resources and you have the locals versus individuals who are coming in, it's not a good mixture.
How were you told that the federal government planned to build a wall here?
We sat down with Border Patrol, and we have, by the way, under President Trump's administration and President Biden's administration, because we've had these conversations for several years already. And so we sat down with Border Patrol, and this was the section that was and by the way, there's 17 miles here in Stark County, 2 of which will be here in Rio Grande City. So it'll start here and go across this, and it's, like I said, it's a movable wall, or at least being labeled a movable wall, but there's nothing movable about it. But we work very closely together with Border Patrol and other law enforcement agencies. So we sat down and we had the conversation, because at the end of the day, they're following, of course, they're following the charge of their superiors.
Well, it was Mr. Villarreal out of Texas. And to hear more about border politics, the hottest issue in the 2024 campaign, you can watch a replay of Cheryl Atkinson's story at fullmeasure.news, and check out her podcast, Full Measure After Hours, and watch a brand new episode of Full Measure every Sunday morning at 7:30 right here on Fox 17.
Just ahead, we meet a nurse who says time is critical when you have a stroke. She knows, because she's also been a stroke patient. I'm Liz Bonus. Those who make a difference this National Nurses Week, just ahead.
Hey there, I'm Jennifer Waddell from The Morning Show right here on Fox 17 News. We're going from cicadas to mosquitoes. Peak mosquito season is just around the corner, and we're going to break down some information from experts that could maybe better keep you and your family safe and mosquito-free this summer. We'll see you Tuesday on Fox 17 News.
Let's make it happen. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking.
Hey there, everybody. Hello to you. This National Nurses Week, we celebrate those who make a difference. And we have one nurse today to tell you about who knows how to make a difference, because she's also been a patient.
As this Nest video shows, it all started a little more than a year ago when she let the dogs out at 10 a.m. By 10:10, when they came back, she said she was on the floor. They were licking her face and woke her up after a sudden stroke. By 10:45, you see her son Garen arrive, and by 11:10, you see the fire department arriving, helping to save Lori Bell's life.
I collapsed that day. I was in the hospital within an hour of collapsing, and I was able to get TPA, which was called TPA back then. It's now Active Place.
Lori is an emergency room nurse at Kentucky's St. Elizabeth Hospital. After being transported immediately to their emergency room, she was given what's called TPA, or tissue plasminogen activator. It can stop the aftermath of a stroke. Shortly after that, Lori was air carried to Ohio's UC Health for what's called a thrombectomy.
That's where they go in through the groin, they go up, and in my case, they went in after the blood clot and sprayed it with more TPA and cleared the clot. I was quick enough to get in there that they were able to do that, but if not, they would have gone in and grabbed the blood clot and pulled it out.
Lori is now fully recovered and is an advocate for a campaign called Strike Out Stroke. It promotes stroke awareness at Major League Baseball games. The message Lori now shares with other stroke survivors and nurses: be fast. Balance difficulties, eyesight changes, face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, time to call 911.
Her hope now is that all of us will remember those symptoms and immediately call for help. With your health news and those making a difference, I'm Liz Bonus.
Very active day. We got